Hallo, da sind wir wieder. Und jetzt schauen wir nach, was wir denn da überhaupt einsetzen können. Okay, wir können... Weird, wir können summen oder wir können weinen. Ich habe absolut keine Ahnung, was wie helfen würde, aber wir machen Weep gerade, ungerade, haben so viel, okay, ungerade. Wir werden weepen. Ich habe eine 3 gewürfelt.
And in the stillness, he began to weep. It was all just too much. Falling to his knees, Luka whimpered softly. The tears crystallized as they hit the snow. Gran stared at Luka for a moment with warm sympathy, remembering why this was all necessary.
This all makes sense soon, Luka. Then everything can go back to normal. Nee, du wirst die ganze Stadt einfrieren. I promise.
Stiffened up and brandished the torch at Mr. Nuncreed.
You can't hide behind those people any longer, Joseph. Once their precious source is destroyed, we all see, well, their loyalties fall. Juniper, don't.
Ignoring his final plea, Gran flung the torch into the deep darkness.
Ja, okay. Das heißt, hier wird auf jeden Fall enden. Und wir können direkt das andere ausprobieren.
Exhaled in relief, Mr. Nuncreed moaned in resignation. The torch echoed as it ricocheted down the hole, punctuated with a thunderous thud.
You see, Joseph, I've learned one very important lesson in life. If you want things to change, then you must be willing to...
Before Gran could finish, the ground shook her to silence.
Der Frost. Wir haben wieder Eis.
Gran only had time to spin around and run to Luka. Her attempt to shield him, an honorable but trifling act. Unflinching love, pitted against an unthinking horror. There was no contest. Her warm embrace froze in an instant. That is where they remain, fixed in place, forever. And so, our story ends on this melancholy scene. In a town brought low by its secrets, sits the frozen statues of a misguided band of meddlers. The end.
Schon wieder das Eis.
That was dire. On the bright side, we finally figured out where all the ice is coming from. Now, we just need to find a way to deal with a mystic, unfathomable force of nature.
Okay. Wir gehen wieder an die Stelle zurück. Und diesmal summen wir. Ich finde es immer gut, dass wir erst die Stelle auswählen oder erst das Ding auswählen, was sehr schnell zu Ende ist. Dann können wir direkt das andere testen. Ja, dann wird jetzt gesummt.
And in the stillness, he began to hum. After the death of his father, Luka had trouble sleeping. Each night, his mother would sit at the foot of his bed and hum a gentle melody. It was the only thing that could calm his mind, the only thing that, however briefly, could make it all seem okay. That melody pervaded every memory Luka had of his mother. Shivering in the raw snow, he began to hum it out loud. Gran lowered the torch, listening closely. As recognition slowly set in, her heart sank. Those countless nights of consolation, the incomparable loss they shared together. She let the torch fall to the snow and sizzle out. A few steps toward Luka was all she could bear before dropping to the snow herself. Through a flood of tears, she began to hum along, note for note. in astonishment. The last time he heard that melody was the last night he saw his mother.
How did you know? I'm so sorry, my little buckaroo. Buckaroo? The only people who call me that are my dad and your mother.
Luka blinked through blurry, watery eyes, trying to see more clearly.
Ich habe euch gesagt, das ist nicht die Oma.
He could just make out the impression of a familiar face. He peered across the snowscape at the woman on her knees. Something about her was undeniably his mother, only smaller, older, changed.
Mom? That's right, buckaroo. Mom!
Luka sprinted as fast as he could toward his mother. They held each other close, and the cold retreated from their bodies.
Eleanor? I thought you were gone. You should have known I would never abandon my son.
Eleanor looked down at Luka, tightening her embrace in an appeal for forgiveness.
How? You're a smart man, Joseph. I thought you'd have pieced it together by now. You are exposed. Mom, I don't understand any of this. What happened to you? Where did you go? Why did you leave me? I never left you. I was always right here, Luka. Why did you lie to me? It tore me up, Luka, but I did it to keep you safe. I thought that getting answers would help us both move on. But the more I discovered, the more I realized the danger we were in. Until perennial harvest was stopped, it was better if everyone thought I was gone. You could have trusted me. These are bad people, Luka. They won't stop until they get what they want. And they don't care who gets hurt in the process. Then what do? We have to stop them.
Joseph slumped into the cold, wet snow.
They can't be stopped. This is too big. I tried beating them at their own game. I'm done fighting fire with fire.
First time in a long time. Her voice felt like her own again.
No more lies. I see now there's a better way to stop perennial harvest. The cold, hard truth.
Luka gazed down at Nuncreed with pity. He looked small. Joseph stared into the snow, as if searching it for answers.
Come on, everyone. We've got a party to crash. You don't understand. He always wins.
Chapter 9. The Devil You Know. 7 months ago. Eleanor Van Horn crept down the maze of sterile hallways under perennial harvest. She stopped in front of the large steel door marked Deep Engineering. No turning back now. She raised a trembling hand. The stolen keycard worked as promised, and the door bust open with mechanical efficiency. She was immediately hit with the smell of disinfectant.
Aus Versehen zu schnell geklickt.
It was some sort of laboratory. In one corner was a desk covered in papers. Across the room stood a tall metal pod with hoses protruding from its base. She rushed to the desk and began shifting through the piles of papers. They were experiment reports on something called Tempus liquamen. There were dozens of them, every one stamped failed. Eleanor heard the sharp echo of footsteps approaching. She was out of time. Her eyes scanned the room, eventually landing on the strange pod. Muttering a curse under her breath, she dashed over and dove inside.
Und da ist sie in dieses Zeug reingekommen. And that is what change is all about. Ja, die Rede kennen wir ja schon. Grabbing the future by the scuff of the neck and making things happen. Change is a choice. I am tickled pink that we will be making that choice together. How great is that? This man is a liar. Excuse me? I will not. This town has a dangerous secret and perennial harvest only exists to keep it hidden. Nonsense. They picked up the whole damn town and moved it right under your nose. You aren't making any sense, dear.
Kerr addressed the crowd with a sarcastic tone.
Imagine such a thing. It's absurd and just plain impossible. They promised they could fix the fall harvest. They told us they would clean this place up. We just had to leave town for a few days. But while they had us evacuated, Mrs. Hartford, I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you too. You're afraid of a lot of things, aren't you? You sniveling little worm. This is growing tiresome. A little help, please. Don't you all see this festival as a scam? An excuse to have the whole town gathered in one place. They're planning something awful. I don't know what, but these people are wicked. Don't listen to her. Has absolutely no proof. I am the proof. I'm Eleanor Van Horn.
Whispers filtered through the crowd.
Well, aren't you just sneaky as the Dickens? Well, all new Valentine's fertilizer was too good to be true. And now this whole town is paying the price. Ladies and gentlemen, I am so sorry about this disruption. My associates will take this obviously disturbed woman somewhere comfortable, so that she can get the help she needs. She's not the one who's disturbed. You two-timing clown. Lul. Da kommt er an. You all know there's something wrong with this town. It was just easier to look the other way. The truth is... Oh, was geht jetzt ab? That's quite enough, Mr. Nuncreed. LOL! Safe ist es sharper. Ich sag's euch.
Torment dragged on Joseph Nuncreed's face.
Yes, sir. Take him away. No, I want him to see this. The ever tempestuous Eleanor Van Horn. You've been quite the thorn in my side. Like a weed that's burrowed in where it doesn't belong. I must confess, you look dreadful.
Paused for a moment, plucking a piece of fuzz from his sweater and discarding it to the ground.
Consider yourself in rare company. You managed to pull one over on me. It won't happen again. I knew you had some sort of plan to disrupt your little party. Our little party, but alas, I expected something a bit more impressive than incoherent rambling. No matter, your failures are yours to bear. Mr. Kerr? Yes, sir? It's a shame it was cut short, but I thank you for that rousing oratory. I will take it from here. Yes, sir, of course, sir. You have done quality work for me, William. You can look forward to the recompense we agreed upon.
Kerr gave a bow of deference.
Founder, you are most gracious.
Gasps rippled through the crowd.
Thankfully, we can dispense with the formalities from here on out.
Solomon pulled a glass vial from his pocket. In one smooth motion, he downed its contents. A triumphant smile grew across Solomon's lips.
You can all call me Sharper Valentine.
His body and face began to contort and expand as he disappeared into a belching green mist.
Wild.
A hushed horror gripped the crowd.
Lol.
This is a story about change.
What? No. So you didn't see that coming. Good.
Sharper examined his new hands.
Well, this is quite an improvement. Everything looks so much smaller now. Eleanor was right about one thing. This festival was a ruse. I wanted you all to witness my glorious return with your own eyes. Why does everyone look so downtrodden? Downtrodden, though. This is a celebration, people. Maybe it would help if we set the mood. Mr. Kerr, be a dear and reveal the sign. Sharper Valentine Festival. Ha, wonderful.
Her choked out a crude squawk of a laugh. Frustrated grumbles sprinkled through the crowd.
Sharper, you malicious bastard. Oh, wir haben malicious gelernt. Nice. I'm glad you're back so I can tell you to your face. You destroyed this town. We ain't gonna let you get away with it again. Sorry, this is not a time for audience participation. Some assistance, Mr. Kerr.
Gave a subtle nod to the clipboards.
You coward. Does anyone else have something to contribute?
Helpless quiet settled over the crowd.
I thought so. Did you all truly believe you could be free of me? A town of complete and utter fools? You people should be celebrating my return. You clearly lost without me. And that leads me nicely to my children. Daddy? Oh man. I give you both the greatest gift a parent can give. The opportunity to prove yourself in my absence. Squandered. To say I'm disappointed would be an underestimate. But I... Silence, Augustus. An adult is speaking. Oh, aber ich mag Augustus. I don't know which is worse. A son who's completely hopeless, or a daughter with such potential who in every way will let me down. Harris, you fail me with admirable consistency. Thankfully I was counting on it this time. Father, I have been wasting time, my dear. What have you accomplished? I was focused on incrementing our legacy. Legacy? Who needs a legacy when you can just live forever? But what about... It's all about kiddo. It's all right, kiddo. I'm afraid you suffer from a complete lack of imagination. There's just no helping it. Now then, where is Joseph? You didn't take the opportunity to slip off, did you? Ah, there he is. Everyone should give him a hand. None of this would have been possible without Joseph. I think you've said enough. Nonsense, the people deserve to know how helpful and loyal you've been. I only did what I did because he left me no choice. You always had a choice, Joseph. You were simply too weak to take it. No matter, cheer up. You're about to be rich beyond your wildest dreams. You should follow Mr. Kerr's example. When I found him, he was in a sorrier state than any of you. An aging actor desperate to recapture his youth. He played his part and soon he'll be able to play the leading man again. Forever, in fact, if he remains loyal. That goes for all of you. Well, those who haven't already frittered away my goodwill. Beacon Pines is mine again, and I am willing to share its spoils in exchange for absolute loyalty. Are you saying Willem Kerr was never in charge of perennial harvest? Ha! You think that puffed-up Blazer's guide could have accomplished all of this? Down, I suppose it's time for your big exclusive.
Sharper addressed the crowd with indignant pride. He'd planned this moment for so long that now, at the deed's fruition, it almost felt frivolous.
You see, I needed a figurehead to hold things down while I orchestrate my return. Someone to direct, lie, and bilk this town for a spell. So I invited Willem Kerr. Take your bow, you've earned it.
Mr. Kerr flourished a preposterously elaborate bow.
Patrick C. Montesquieu Thespian extraordinary at your deserve. What? Founder, I just want to thank you again for this opportunity. Weirder Name. It truly was the role of a lifetime. Wait. So this Bilker was a patsy the whole time? Bilker, patsy? Ist bestimmt ein lustiger Wortwitz im Englischen, wenn man den kennt. Bilker? Patsy? Keine Ahnung. No, that your secret is out in the open. What's to stop this town from rising up against you? Oh, that's the delicious part. 4. Thanks to our clipboards, I know what each and every person in this town fears most. And I will make those fears manifest for anyone who steps out of line. The choice is simple. I'm not afraid of you. Ha, the young hero. I've kept a keen eye on you, boy. You and your friends made a habit of disrupting my plans. What a pity. If things would have gone a bit differently, you might have had your moment of triumph. But that's it for you. You can't do this. Oh, but I can. I have won. Never underestimate what a great man can do, given time. And now time is my plaything. Perhaps the most expensive thing I've ever bought. But well worth it. Ha.
Sharper coughed up one final laugh and cracked his knuckles.
Enough chit-chat. Let's get to work, shall we? Okay.
And so, Sharper set about remaking the town in his own image. The fertilizer factory soon reopened for business. Sales rose steadily as more and more farmers across the countryside began to swear by its miraculous properties. Beacon Pines became famous, a secretive town that, for the right price, shared its gifts with all. Gifts that became more and more necessary in a world where winters grew longer and longer. The end.
Weird.
This is wrong, but things are becoming clearer now.
Ja, aber wie es weitergeht, schauen wir uns nicht jetzt an. Das schauen wir uns beim nächsten Mal an, weil ich glaube, da wird noch einiges kommen. Und ich glaube, es gibt auch ein gutes Ende. Ich gehe davon aus, dass es mal tatsächlich ein Game ist, wo das Ende nicht traurig sein wird, weil der Anfang war ja schon traurig und wir haben genug Enden, die traurig waren. Also wird das richtige Ende wohl gut sein. Ich bedanke mich fürs Zusehen. Schaut gern auch beim nächsten Mal wieder rein. Lasst gern Like, Abo, Kommentar und Sonstiges da. Einige Sachen, die ich vermutet habe, stimmen. Manche stimmen teilweise, aber jetzt habe ich absolut keine Ahnung, wie es noch anders laufen kann. Ich bin verwirrt. Wir werden es sehen. Bis zum nächsten Mal. Tschüss.